What is up, nerds of wrestling, and welcome to today's episode of What's Up Wrestler, a podcast by Nerds of Wrestling. I am your host, Justin Del Rio, and my guest at this very time is the Grapple Gawd, Jordyn Rowe. Jordyn, what is going on? How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you?
Doing all right, man. Thank you so much for being able to join the show today. I'm excited to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. This is a common question I ask throughout the whole entire year of doing these podcasts. COVID is over, in my opinion. Hopefully, what have you been doing to kind of, yeah, keeping positive and doing your thing? Like, what's been on your mind?
To be completely honest, I worked through the whole lockdown. So it really wasn't much of a break for me. It's just kind of like people are just starting to show up now.
Right.
So really, I've been doing the same things besides like when the gym was closed, I worked out at home, but now I can go to the gym. But other than that, things didn't really stop, unfortunately. I kind of
Right.
wish they did, but I didn't get that break, so it's just
With
kind
all
of
that,
back to normal.
right. With all that going on through, like, the whole pandemic, you working out, you working, doing your thing. So much wrestling has been going on during the whole pandemic. Have you been keeping up with, WWE, AEW, Impact?
All right, so I'm like I don't watch weekly.
Right.
I'm like more of like a all right. So like there's certain guys that I follow. So like if there's like a match that they have, like I'll go and watch that. Like for example, like Christian and Kenny Omega, I had to watch that because I'm a big Christian fan. So I had to see what they were gonna do with that. So like something like that is something I'll go and I'll tune in to watch. But I'm not really a weekly like full show guy because I'm like easily turned off by any shows. Like not even just wrestling. Like the moment something in a show happens that like I'm not into, I'll turn it off. So.
I said this during a lot of my podcasts, and I repeat it again. I haven't been keeping up with wrestling either. I feel like it's just very kind of stale right now.
Yeah,
Except, well, AEW's doing their thing. I know we finally got CM Punk back, which is absolutely amazing.
yeah, it's pretty great.
But WWE, man, I tried to watch Raw Monday, and I'm like, nope, done. I can't watch it. I
It's
can't.
tough. Like I love WWE. Obviously, everybody loves WWE. But
Right.
it's tough to keep up with like the whole thing. They got so much stuff. They have like 5 shows. Every show goes like 3 hours. It's just too much to keep up with. So like I just try to like I'll pay attention to like certain people on the roster's matches or something
Right.
like that. But for the
Yeah.
most part, like I just watch the indies. I just try to watch my friends' matches, stuff like that. I like Ring of Honor. I'm pretty into Ring
Yeah.
of Honor, so I watch Ring of Honor probably more than anybody else. But
Ring of Honor is awesome though. But speaking of all this wrestling, what got you into wrestling? How old were you when you really got into it?
all right, so I always say this, and it sounds like the weirdest thing because I don't have like a. Everybody's like, oh, like Shawn Michaels, Sweet Chin Music, Ric Flair, and that's when I was hooked. Like I never had like a moment in wrestling where I was like, oh yeah, like this is it. Like as long as I can remember, I've always watched it. My family grew up watching it too, so we just always watched like all the like combat sports. So like we always watch like all the UFC fights, all the boxing matches. Mondays we watch Raw, Fridays we watch SmackDown, like stuff like that. So it was just something that's always just been in my household, and I just stuck with it.
There you go. But was there like any like in particular wrestler that really grabbed your attention? Like a lot of people started watching. I'm 27, so I started watching during like the Ruthless Aggression era, like in '06 with like John Cena, Kurt Angle doing his thing, Rey Mysterio, all of them. What wrestlers really grabbed your attention?
Early on, Rey Mysterio, obviously, because he's small and I'm
Look
small,
out.
and he was beating up big guys, and I thought that was cool as a little kid because I wanted to beat up my big cousins. And like Kurt Angle was always somebody that stood out to me just because of how like legit he was, and like guys like him, guys like Triple H, anybody that seemed like they just were like more serious than other people about what they were doing, it just always stuck out to me.
What matches in particular, if you remember, really do you remember from either Kurt Angle or Rey Mysterio?
Not like from like a kid. So like
Right.
now I have like my favorites from them, but I don't have like a match from like when I was a kid where I was like, oh shit, like this is it. Rey Mysterio probably more so like because I seen Rey Mysterio like he wrestled Shawn Michaels on a SmackDown, and for whatever reason I thought that was like the greatest thing ever at that time. And like
Right.
Mysterio, he'd wrestle like I don't know, like Big Show, and I'd always be like, oh God, like how's he gonna get out of here? And he always somehow got out in one piece. So like stuff
Or
like
like Great Khali. I don't know if you remember where Great Khali like smushed his head like a pumpkin on SmackDown.
I can't forget about that because I actually had to stop watching wrestling for like a week or something like that because
It was very
it was
traumatizing
a
for us
traumatic,
kids.
yeah, it was a traumatic
Right.
experience in my life.
A lot of people cried. A lot of people thought he was actually dead.
Yeah, no, me for one. I definitely thought he was dead. I remember my cousins, they always kept the DVDs
Right.
and they had like a bunch of old SmackDown DVDs. And I thought that this was like happening like currently because, I'm a little kid. So they showed me like Big Show versus Rey Mysterio, and Big Show puts him on a stretcher and then bangs
Oh,
the post. And I thought he was fucking dead. And I was crying. I was like, oh my God, like this is the worst day of my life. But
yo, like low key though, like Rey Mysterio always took like some nasty bumps. Like that was
yeah.
like that bump on the structure. Like I wouldn't want to take that shit.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I always go, "Damn, oh man, I don't know how Rey Mysterio does it." And then I realized, like, I'm Rey Mysterio's size, and that's
Right.
what you do to me. So,
So that must be pretty cool for you though to say like, hey, I'm the same size as him, and you're doing what Rey Mysterio is doing, and that's professional wrestling. What got you into training? How did that all begin?
so I wrestled in college and I
Right.
wrestled in high school. So
And you were in high school, right?
yeah. So I wrestled
That's
in high
wild.
school. My freshman year of high school, I was actually going to like a basketball tryout. But one of my boys, one of my best friends, I would go to his house and we would like, just like wrestle all the time, like WWE wrestle, like
Right.
we weren't trying to kill each other, just DDTs, RKOs, just move for move. But his brother was on the wrestling team, so he'd come in the room and like just wrestle us all the time, and like he'd actually like tie us up and like hurt us. So one day I just got pissed and I just told him like, yeah, bro, like I'm gonna just learn all the moves and then I'm coming for you. So I'm going to basketball tryouts my freshman year, and we had like how New Britain High's gym is like it's like adjoining downstairs, so it's
Yeah.
like a barrier, just like a wall that separates the two sides of the gym.
Right.
So basketball's on one side, wrestling's on the other side. I walked in through the wrestling door trying to pass through, and he was just like, "Yeah, bro, you gonna join the team?" And I was just like, "All right, let's see where it goes." And
Right.
just love at first sight, I guess. This is the best
What
way.
was what was that like for you to like try out for the wrestling team at the high school? Like to watch, obviously, wrestling on TV to actually doing this Olympic style
Yeah.
wrestling. What was that like?
I was happy that I wasn't one of those guys that like thought that it was like gonna be like the same thing. Because there would be a lot of guys and they'd come to join the team and then they're like, like we're not in a ring, and they'd be like turned off. But I already knew obviously that it was two different things, but I was just happy to be able to like have something to do. And it just I don't know, it just stuck. I've always liked wrestling.
Right.
Just in general, I always wrestled around with my family, always wrestled with my friends. So once I got into it, it was just I don't know, it was just a match.
Your style in professional wrestling is similar kind of to the wrestling you did in high school. You wrestle with a singlet. You do like Kurt Angle does,
Yeah.
which is the best type of wrestling. Technical, very technical. What was it like to step foot into an actual professional wrestling ring, going into training and doing what you got to do there?
It was definitely dope. My first day, I had like no idea what to expect because like growing up, obviously I wanted to be a wrestler, so I'd look up like people talking about wrestling or like I'd watch somebody's movie and they all had like horror stories about like the things that happened to them like in their first couple of days of training. So I'm going into my first day of training like, oh shit, like this is gonna be crazy, and everybody's just like, hey, how are you? Like, oh, you want to get in the ring? Like, all right, like let's learn. And I was just like, oh, okay, this is way nicer than I thought it was gonna be. So it was definitely nice. Wagner is my trainer.
Right.
I train Tesla strength, so Wagner is really cool from day one. So he didn't really take it too easy on me. He figured that I was picking up on things pretty quickly, so he just kept throwing things at me. So it was nice. It was definitely nice.
You said you were googling how to like do this wrestling stuff and everything. Were you a fan of independent wrestling before you got into training? Did you know anything about the indies,
I only knew about like the big indies, so
like Ring of Honor
Ring of
type?
Honor, like I'm like Progress, like things like that, like nothing too local. So like
Right.
I knew about NEW, but I only knew about NEW because they had Matt Hardy at a show, and I was trying to convince my friends, like, yo, bro, let's go fucking see Matt Hardy, and they were just like, nah, bro, like he's not Jeff, and I was like, all right, like,
So it's a Hardy
yeah,
Boys.
like
Like
what do
what?
you mean? Like they're the Hardy Boys, like. but yeah, that was as close as it got for me, like as far as like really big indies go. But other than that, it'd be like like PWG or like
Right.
something like that, like real big scale. So
Yeah, and now you're doing your thing, man. You're making a pretty big name for yourself in Connecticut. How long did it take you to train at Tesla Strength? And it's crazy when I first discovered Tesla Strength to see Slick Wagner Brown still doing his thing. I remember meeting him in like 2013 at an indie show in Connecticut, CTWE, and that was the last time I met him. And it's crazy to see he's still doing his thing with
yeah,
TOS. Phenomenal, phenomenal promotion, by the way. But what was it like to finally get out of training and do your thing in the ring for real? How long did it take you to train?
I trained for I started training in 2019, and it was my 19th birthday like gift.
No
My
shit.
parents paid for my first month of dues. So I started training, and I trained for a year, and then COVID hit. So
Damn.
then that whole time it was no matches. So I obviously ref for a little bit, but COVID it was just we were just in the dojo, just doing dojo matches, just doing what we could. And, everybody wasn't really training because people have families and stuff. So
Right.
I'm younger than everybody in the dojo. I'm only 20. I don't have like a family that I have to take care of or anything like that. So it was just me worrying about myself. I can go to training as many times as I have to and just keep working. So it was nice because I got to train pretty much for a whole additional year before I got to debut. So it's definitely cool with the whole COVID thing for me.
Right.
Other people
Kind of.
didn't like it very much.
It was like a blessing in disguise
Yeah.
for like that. Going back to your training, you did wrestling in high school. Now you're doing professional wrestling like you see on TV. What was it? I gotta know. What was it like hitting that first back bump? What was your first bump you took in that ring?
My first bump I took was a body slam,
Oh,
and
wow,
and
shit.
it was like all right, we did the rolls,
Right,
and I was the only rookie in the class I think at this point. So we did the rolls, and they were just like, all right, he can roll. Like he rolled, he did everything his first try, like whatever. All right, so like we're just gonna continue on with our regular class, body slams, and then I took a body slam. I was like, holy shit, stuck for a little bit, and I was like, all right, let's go. Like,
you're good. Uh, you said you trained for a year. Going through all that training, was there any doubt in your mind where you were like, "Oh, I don't know, guys, I don't think I could do this," or was it like 150, like foot on the gas the whole time, or you just dead set on doing this?
for me, I'm persistent. So like I never really had like a point where I was just like, oh man, like I'm gonna quit wrestling. Like the only thing is that I ever really like think about sometimes, that'll cross my mind is, I'm a smaller guy. So like WWE has like the, 6 foot under 30 deal. And I'm like, all right, I'm not 6 foot. I'm never gonna be
Right,
6 foot. I'm probably never gonna get past like a buck 80. And that's if I really, really tried in the gym. So like, definitely gonna be a smaller guy. So that's always like tough because I know that this is a business for a
right,
bigger person. But at the same time, there's always an exception. There's people that have made it at the highest level that I've seen that are smaller than me. So like I know it's real possible, and I know that I have a good enough athleticism to be able to do something, even if it's just on the indies. So
right.
you only have one life, so I just want to just give it all I got to make sure that I enjoy this one.
Absolutely. Independent wrestling, bro, is taking over the world.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know if you know that as an independent wrestler, like, you guys are absolutely exploding out of nowhere. Like, independent wrestling, in my opinion, kind of really took off in like 2016, 2017. That's when people were like, okay, let's take a look at these other promotions other than just WWE because as a young Justin, in like 2006, watching wrestling, I didn't know what ROH was. I didn't know what all these other new. I was like, wait, there's more wrestling. Like, what is this? Like, oh my! And it's overwhelming to the point where you're like, okay, I gotta breathe. I gotta calm down because there's so much wrestling out there. Uh,
yeah.
what
Even
what are,
still,
right?
it's
What are
it's
your thoughts on that?
it's crazy. It's like really cool because like they're obviously like when I was growing up, all you see is WWE. So
Right,
like this is the only place in the world that I'm gonna be able to like live my dream and like do it. But then I start actually wrestling, and I'm like, bro, I can wrestle all over the world. I don't even have to like be on a contract to make a living. All I have to do is just make sure I do everything the right
correctly,
way and
right,
just stay true to the game. But it's definitely cool knowing that you have like many options. So like I don't
right.
have to be, like I said, 6 foot, 280 pounds to be able to actually do this thing. So that's always cool, and it's only getting bigger now because AEW and they're helping out a lot. I feel like so. It's definitely cool. It's definitely real cool.
You were saying that I agree completely, bro. And you were saying that if you do stuff correctly, you'll make it. Like you said, like you just said, if you do stuff correctly, there's so many wrestlers who got signed to WWE who've already made a huge name for themselves outside of wrestling, like Keith Lee, for example, or Austin Theory. Those two names right there just blew AJ Styles. How could I forget about him? Obviously, those wrestlers right there just really made a big impact on their names before they got signed to a major company like WWE. And I feel like you're on that right track. Just keep doing your thing, man. Keep
Thank you.
going, and
Appreciate it. Thank
that's it. Of course, bro. Of course. I want to talk about after your training though. After you're done training, you're done, ready to go. What was your first booking, and what match was it?
Undeniable. I think it's undeniable too. And it was in Torrington at Tester Spring. It was
Oh
the
yeah, that was that past. This
yep.
past show. I was
That was
there.
my
Okay.
first. That was my first official match in Tester Spring. So
No shit,
yeah.
dude. And you look like you were doing that for years. By the way, like
Thank you.
I'm
Thank
like
you.
I'm like because I forgot that was your debut, man. Holy shit. I go to so many shows, bro. So don't mind
Yeah.
me. Um, but like, I'm looking at this dude. I'm like, this is his first match. I'm like, he looks like he's been doing this for years. Like he's great. And you got people talking to you after the show, taking pictures. That must have felt kind of like holy shit, this is
It
cool.
was it was cool, but I'm supposed to be like a villain, so I was like, oh man, like, am I really gonna take these pictures right now? It's like a
Right.
moral dilemma. Like, oh shit.
Kayfabe. You don't want to break kayfabe,
I'm
but
like,
like.
damn, is this like it's a little kid? It's a little kid. Like, am I gonna tell him like piss off right now? Am I
Right,
gonna do
but I
that?
mean, you could always take a picture, just stay in character like you did with that.
Yeah,
I wish I had.
I'm just looking over my shoulder for Wagner, just waiting for him to pop up and like crucify me.
Right, I wish I had the picture of you and Mario of him like praising you because
First of all,
that
that's
was
my
like
favorite picture
the
of my
best
career.
picture ever.
That's the
Like that
best
was
picture ever.
excellent.
I'm gonna look back on that picture for the rest of my career, and Mario is my notable first fan.
Love it, Mario. If you're
I'll never
watching,
forget
bro,
about Mario.
I love it, dude. So like after that, what was your like initial thought process after that match was done?
Just cool, man. Like, wow. Like, I actually, all I ever wanted to do was be a pro wrestler. So I've already, in a sense, lived my dream.
Right.
So that right there was just enough for me. I was happy. I was like, all right, I can die happy right now.
Hell yeah.
I'm already. I did what young me wanted to do. I got in the ring. I had a match in front of a crowd, and we won. So it was nice.
Absolutely. And you have a show coming up pretty soon. But before we talk about that, who are some wrestlers that you have your eyes set on, like in the indie scene or like promotions? Because you live in Connecticut, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
right? So, Jordan, correct me if I'm wrong, but we are very fortunate to have so much wrestling, not only in Connecticut, but in the Northeast. You got Jersey, you got New York, you got everywhere, and so many wrestlers. Who do you have your eyes set on, and what promotions do you have your eyes set on?
It's so hard. I did the Sign Guy podcast.
Yep, Joey G.
On
Shout out to
Monday
Joey
with
G.
Joey
Right.
G, and he asked me the same thing, and it's just like, oh my god, there's so many promotions to choose from. Like I'm a fan of like Limitless Wrestling. I like watching Limitless. I think that's pretty cool. NEW is another place that'd be nice to get my feet into. I'd love to work in Beyond because they got a lot of wrestlers that I think are really good that I'd love to get in there with. So I mean, it's hard. I want to wrestle everywhere. I just want to be able to say that I've been in every place I've had at least one match. Like
Yeah,
that's the type of guy I want to be. I just want to be like, oh, he's here too. So
right.
that's really what it is for me. But yeah, I'm down to wrestle anywhere. I just like wrestling. It's just I don't know.
I feel like that's the best answer though. Anywhere and everywhere, just
Yeah.
get your name out there. Other promotions outside of the Northeast, like I just said, you want to wrestle everywhere. What other promotions do you have your eyes set on? Like, are you like a big fan of? Because I know you mentioned Limitless, you mentioned Beyond, NEW. But like as a fan, what promotions like do you like? Oh, this is cool.
I don't watch their shows all the time, but I see them on Instagram. I like VXS.
Okay.
I feel like their presentation is really cool, and that's definitely something I like to be a part of. Or like I've seen some no peace underground stuff. They had like a match on like a stage, and it was dope. It was like Def Jam.
No shit.
It was fucking tough. Like I never seen anything like it. So like stuff like that is always cool to me. Anytime I see somebody doing something that's just not traditional,
Right.
but it still works. Like it's still wrestling. I'm down for it 100%. So
Talking, going back to Test of Strength Wrestling, you have a show coming up on September 4th this weekend, if I'm not mistaken, and you are in a fatal 4-way for the K1 Championship. That's awesome, bro. That's insane. And
it's definitely
Eddie
cool.
Edwards is in that match. Like Eddie Edwards is in that match, if I'm not mistaken. Thought process, bro. What's going through your mind? Going to that match.
It's cool. I grew up watching Eddie Edwards. You know, I used to watch a lot of TNA
Right.
with my cousins and my friends. So you know, American Wolves was one of my favorite tag teams. So being in the ring with somebody like him is always gonna be cool. It was even cooler. He's kind of the reason like I chose my school in the first place because I just seen him as like a notable graduate because Wagner trained him at Kowalski's. So
Right.
he was one of the reasons that I chose Test of Strength, or at least that like why I had faith in where I was going, because I didn't know anything about wrestling schools or anything like that. So I saw somebody train there. I was like, okay, like, and it's close. It's perfect for me. So it's definitely cool to be able to actually step in the ring with somebody on that level. I know I'm going to be able to learn a lot. It's my first time wrestling Bobby too. So, Bobby's great. He's going to.
I can't believe he's still wrestling too, bro. Oh my god.
Yeah,
I feel old. I saw him wrestle too back in 2013 and CTWE probably was slick. They probably wrestled each other, dude. It's crazy. Dude,
yeah, it's definitely going to be cool to just have all those guys in the ring at the same time and be able to really pick up on a lot. Hopefully, pick up on a championship. That'd be dope. So,
dude, and I know Mike Skyros is defending it.
Yeah.
Mike Skyros is a great wrestler, dude.
Yeah.
He's doing his thing. I interviewed him a while back. Other than Test of Strength, other than wrestling, what does Jordyn like to do for fun? What are your Netflix binge-worthy shows or HBO Max or whatever?
I am the absolute worst gamer on the planet. So I would love to sit here and tell you that I love playing my Xbox, because I do. But I can't sit and play a game for too long. Like I can't sit and play the same game for too long, and I can't sit and watch the same show for too long. So I'm like the type of person. I'm a surfer. So like I'll go and I'll play my Xbox and say I'll play like Gears of War. I'll play Gears of War for 10 minutes, and then I'll quit and I'll go play Brawlhalla because like now I feel like all right, I want to fight. And then I'll be like, all right, now fuck this. I want to go, and I'll just turn on NBA 2K and I'll create a character, and then I'll quit that. And then I'm a mess. Like I just do everything in between. Like next thing you know, I'm doing like push-ups on the floor. Like I'm just all over the place all the time. So
hey, there's nothing wrong with that, bro. Like I myself am not a big gamer, but like days like today, pouring rain. Just imagine it's Sunday. I can stay at home, just play MLB all day. I can play like 50 games and just.
I'm really big into one thing I can actually do. I can play a NBA 2K My League.
Right. Oh,
like, I can play a My League all day because that's interesting to me because there's like mad shit to do in the league. Like I can go and customize my team. I can go fix our jerseys. I can go make some trades. Like I can do a bunch. So that I can sit there and do that, especially if I have somebody that's like also in the league.
Right.
It definitely works out. So I'm more of like a co-op gamer.
Now, are you a basketball fan at all? Like, or are you have any teams, any sports?
Yeah, I definitely got taken out during COVID.
Right.
But I'm a lifelong Laker fan.
Right. Okay.
Laker fan forever. My dad was a Lakers fan, so grew up watching Kobe, and that was just what it was. Like there was no other team in the house, so yeah, I'm definitely a lifelong Lakers fan. I try to pick up on the games as much as I can, but once they took the crowds out, it was a little tough to stay involved. And I'm not a big fan of my team right now. Like this is the first time I'm actually like watching it. I'm not a big LeBron James fan.
I don't think a lot of people are.
Is a great person. I think he's a phenomenal athlete. I just don't like him as a basketball player on my team because
sounds fair.
I'm gonna defend anybody on my team regardless. Like you're on my team, like you're with me. Like all right, I'm a defender, but it's very hard to defend some of the shit that LeBron James does on the court. It is just it's stressful. It's
It
stressful.
is.
Put stress in LA.
Speaking of LeBron James, though, did you see Space Jam?
No.
No, it was good. I like yo, you flat out were like, nah, chill,
I
bro.
can barely
Chill.
sit through like I know there's like I can barely sit through something that I like. So I already
Right.
know like I'm somebody that gets taken out of things very easily. So like the moment that something happens and I go, it's over. Like I'm turning it off.
Right.
So I didn't even want to put myself in that position where they were gonna do something weird with the robots or something, and I was gonna be like, all right, like
All right, fair enough. Well, coming from me, a 27-year-old man, I enjoyed Space Jam. I thought it was dope. I don't know if you want to watch it. I don't know if you can take my word for it,
I'll
but
take your word
I
for it.
I
I'll give
liked
it.
it.
I'll give it a watch. I'll at least give it my 15-minute trial, like I do everything else.
Hell yeah, dude. You gotta let me know as soon as
Yeah.
you watch it. Be like, Justin, I wasn't a fan, bro.
Tweet
I
you. I
didn't.
say, Justin, this is the worst movie I ever seen in my
Right.
life.
Hey, as long as you give it a try, that's all I ask. That's all I ask, bro. But so you like Lakers? You like what else did you say? I'm sorry.
I like Gears of War.
Right,
I'll
Gears
say
of
that.
War.
It's the game I'm playing
Right.
right now. That's my thing right now.
Any other sports? Football, baseball, hockey.
I'm a newly Titans fan. That's what I've been saying. I'm a newly Tennessee Titans fan. I've been trying to get into watching football because we didn't
Right.
really watch football in my house. It was wrestling and basketball. So and
It's
then
all right.
and then I know that's in the same season, but like even during football season, we were just watching reruns of wrestling and basketball. So like, yeah, it was. So I'm trying to become an NFL fan. I had to search and figure out a team that I'd be willing to commit to.
Right.
So I'm committed to the Tennessee Titans. And
Hey, bro. You know what?
goes.
I was 20 years old when I got into football. I was like, who do I like? Who do I like? Broncos. My dad likes the Broncos. I'll pick Denver. So I'm a Denver fan. So now you are newly Tennessee Titans fan.
Newly Tennessee Titans fan. I had to pick a team that I felt like nobody was gonna pick. I had to pick a team that I feel like I'm gonna be like it's gonna be me versus everybody every time.
Right.
And that's
So
what I
you
like.
said Tennessee Titans. So if people are wondering, I wonder what fan of football Jordan is. Let me go back and listen to Justin's podcast. He said Titans. So 5 years from now, you can't back that down. You guys say
Oh,
Titans.
but I gotta be a Titans fan. I do.
Right.
I'm a Titans fan on a 5-year contract. They got
There you
5
go.
years to do something that I really hate
There you
for me
go.
to leave. But
Hell yeah.
I'm rocking with Tennessee.
There you go, man. Hey, nothing wrong with that. Anyway, Jordan, bro, this has been a lot of fun talking to you today, bro. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, bro. Thank you for having me.
Of course, man. But before we go, drop those plugs. Where can the nerds find you?
All right. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Grapple Gawd. That's GAWD. You can find me on Facebook at Jordyn Rowe. Feel free to shoot me a message if you want. I always reply. As long as it's not weird. I'm not gonna send you any feet pics or anything like that.
Right,
But,
right.
like you wanna play some Gears of War on Xbox, hit me up. We can do that.
There you go, nerds. Go check out Jordyn Rowe at Grapple Gawd on Twitter and Instagram, and hit him up on Facebook. Jordan, again, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. I hope to have you on again
Fun.
in the near future, and I hope to see you at a show very soon.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, man. This has been a podcast by Nerds of Wrestling. Peace out, nerds.